What the study showed is that chemical sunscreens do get absorbed into the bloodstream. And some of these chemicals may have side effects that we either don't like or don't even know about yet. So there are a number of takeaways from this. The first one is, instead of chemical sunscreens, look for mineral sunscreens, particularly zinc and titanium. Those are things we have in us already. Zinc is a nutrient. Titanium is something we already have. So if they do get absorbed, there's not that same kind of risk factor. Another issue is that some of the chemicals can actually be damaged after a while in the sun and can become harmful rather than helpful. So zinc and titanium are not like this. Zinc stays on the skin, and until it gets washed off, it's protective. A zinc sunscreen is kind of like wearing a shirt on your skin, and you're going to see it. There is invisible zinc, micronized zinc. Again, the jury's kind of out on that. The size range of those particles is very, very small, in the same range as things like asbestos and diesel particulates, things that our body doesn't handle very well. So until there's more data, I recommend the old-fashioned zinc sunscreens where you put them on and you can kind of see them. They're not necessarily going to be, bright white like the 1960s smear on the nose, but they're going to be visible. You're going to be a little bit chalky, and that's okay. There are also other things you can do that don't involve sunscreens to help reduce sunburns. The first thing is be sun smart. And being sun smart means recognizing sunshine is fine, sunburns are bad. So if you burn in 1 minute in the sun, then for you, being sun smart means wearing that hat, wearing those long sleeves every single day all the time. If you can be outside for an hour or two before you burn, you don't need to worry about that for a short exposure. If you're going to walk the dog, walk the dog. If you're going to spend a whole day at the pool, you're going to a pool party from dawn to dusk, then you need to worry about covering up with sunscreen or clothing, or even just avoiding the peak burning hours. The peak burning hours are between 10 and 4. So if you're going to do gardening, if you're going to go to a pool party, etc., do it early or do it late. Now again, if you're just walking the dog for a few minutes, you're not going to get a sunburn, that's fine. There was a time when eating lots of carbohydrates and getting a sunburn were considered to be good things, and we've shifted over to that. Now we're trying to be low carb, and we're trying not to get sunburns. And sunburns are bad. Melanoma kills 10,000 Americans a year, and having as few as 5 severe sunburns, the kind that cause blistering and peeling, having as few as 5 can double a lifetime risk of melanoma. And we're at the point now where 1 in 50 Americans is going to get melanoma. And the emphasis on trying to prevent sunburns is really very, very good, very well placed. But again, it's important to recognize sunshine is fine, it's the burns that are bad. To prevent the burns, we're talking about the zinc sunscreens. We also talk about things like sun protective clothing and engaging in outdoor activities either earlier or later, or for a short enough duration that you don't burn. Bug sprays can also be dangerous. One of the better ways to use them is to put the bug spray on the clothing and let it dry. And some bug sprays will actually adhere to the fabric and last through a few washes even. And the nice thing about that is it'll keep the bugs away, but it won't get absorbed into the skin, particularly children's skin. Another thing that's important to keep in mind is for hiking in the woods, it's good to tuck the pants into the socks in addition to spraying the clothing before you wear it. Ticks are prevalent in this part of the country, and tick-borne diseases are real, particularly Lyme disease, but there are several others as well. I'm hoping that this will be kind of a moment where we can all start to come together around goofy clothing. So the important parts of the body to protect are really the face and the hands. If you think about your face, you'll probably understand intuitively you really don't want to get a cancer here. You don't want to get cut on here. Hands isn't quite as obvious, but if you make a fist, you'll see that this skin you can move. If you have a cancer here, it's easy to cut out, easy to sew it closed. Here, the skin really doesn't move. You got no extra skin. So it's another important area to protect. So the number one thing for people to wear is a hat with a brim, and I like to see hats that have a little bit of coverage for the back of the neck. And again, this probably looks pretty goofy, but it provides excellent coverage. So another thing you can do to protect yourself if you're outside playing sports, climbing, whatever, these are armies. They're kind of like tights for your arms. Thank you for that wording. That's a good way to put it. And these too can help keep that sun off you without needing any chemicals whatsoever. And another nice thing to use is gloves. These are sunproof gloves, and these are nice new ones. Actually, these aren't so new, but the manufacturing style is new. These actually have little tips to let you use your smartphone. So right now, I'm actually pretty protected. I look kind of goofy, but I won't get a sunburn. And one more thing to think about is protecting those lips. Lips are vulnerable to a kind of cancer called squamous cell cancer. And a squamous cell cancer on the lip is potentially deadly. They move fast when they start here. So the other thing to think about is getting a zinc-based lip protector. And again, looks a little goofy, might white out the lip a little bit, but beats the heck out of skin cancer. The windshields can help filter out some of the wavelengths, but they let other wavelengths come right through. A lot of glass will filter UVA, but it won't filter UVB. So you can still get a nice sunburn through a windshield, and I did that once driving across the country. So if you're taking a long drive, think about having your hat on or your zinc sunscreen. Think about getting gloves for driving. You'll be doing your skin a favor. My long-term patients actually do show up in the waiting room with their gear, and you can tell who they are. But I would love to see people throughout our city getting out the goofy hats, putting on the goofy gloves, making their skin healthier.